Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for coming. Our organization, CAIR-Chicago, is the Council on American Islamic Relations here in Chicago, a civil rights organization committed to fighting bigotry, discrimination, acts of hate and bias against members of the Muslim community and against all targeted groups in this time and in this place. We work within the Chicagoland area and the state of Illinois. My name is Ahmed Rahab, A-H-M-E-D, R-E-H-A-B. I'm the Executive Director of CAIR-Chicago. We're here today to address the problematic and flippant and ludicrous hate campaign that is known as Punish a Muslim Day. To be quite frank with you, we had the dilemma of having to decide whether or not to hold this press conference in the first place. Our first reaction was not to want to take this seriously and draw any attention to it because of the ease by which anyone can print a flyer and circulate it and cause the community and multiple communities to have to talk about their work and to address their work and fear their work and have concern about their very simple little task of printing a flyer. But as this hate campaign, which on its face seems flippant and ludicrous, and still does, has been circulated online, including in the United States, and has caused members of the community to be concerned, including parents asking of whether they should bring their children to school tomorrow, we wanted to address this publicly to say two simple things. The first is, as always, we advise exercising caution and reasonable care in how you go about your daily lives in order to protect yourselves and your families. And this message is a message to our Muslim community members. But the second is to remind us that these campaigns are designed to not only stoke hatred, but also to sow fear in communities and to not give in to that kind of fear-mongering. The way to fight these campaigns is not to give in to the hatred nor the fear that they mean to sow. Instead, our Muslim community members need not whittle down their Muslim freedom of expression of what it means to be a Muslim, their Muslimness, but rather to continue to live out unapologetically and loudly those expressions in all of the reasonable ways that they see fit in our society, in this place, in the United States, that is their home, where they work, contribute, and build. To continue to live on our values and to continue to express our freedoms is the response to these kinds of ridiculous campaigns. Another point to be made is that we believe these campaigns can only be possible in terms of the real fear they create because of the accessory that is the political rhetoric against Muslims, the hatred of Islam and Muslims in the political rhetoric in Europe, including the UK, and even here in the United States. Today we face certain policies out of the White House, certain rhetoric out of members of this administration, including the President of the United States. The recent appointment of someone like John Bolton, who has worked with well-known Islamophobes in the past, has written a foreword for their book, and is really in bed with some of the well-known integrated Islamophobia networks in this country, now acting as National Security Advisor. When you look at this backdrop, it is no wonder that communities can be concerned about something seemingly as ridiculous as this. And so, again, we remind ourselves, law enforcement, public officials, our coalition allies, that the only way forward is to not give in to fear and hatred and to make sure that our voices are voices that strike those ugly forces, un-American forces, down. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Asha Binbeck. I'm one of two communications coordinators at CAIR-Chicago. That's A-S-H-A-B-I-N-B-E-K. Cowardly campaigns such as this one were created with the sole purpose of bringing fear into our communities. We need to show them that we are not afraid and that we refuse to live in fear. As an unapologetically Black Muslim woman, I will not live in fear today, tomorrow, or any other day of the year. Instead, I will continue to fight and work for marginalized communities and love and protect them to make this world a better place. It's times like these that CAIR-Chicago wants our community to know that we will continue to protect your rights and work until justice is served to those threatening our safety and our constitutionally protected rights as Americans. Thank you.
So if anybody has any questions, we'd be happy to answer those.
This organization been working with the Chicago Police Department in anticipation of anything that could happen as part of this flyer?
We have reported these flyers to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, agents here in the Chicagoland area, through the community commissions that we work through. As far as the police is concerned, unless there is a direct threat against a member of our community, it is not the work of the police to intervene, but we wanted to keep at least the FBI on notice that something like this is happening in case they needed to investigate a lead of something or another that may be happening out there.
And no direct threat that you're aware of linked to this at this time?
There's no direct threat that we're aware of. These have been circulated online. We wanted, another reason why we were not sure if we wanted to hold a press conference is we wanted to wait until, or unless, or if these flyers were passed physically. And yet, through the digital means of distribution, they have created enough of a splash. There's been enough notoriety in terms of their being shared online for us to be concerned about at least how the community is reacting. We didn't want this to sort of wish this away and sort of stay in a corner and hope it goes away on its own, but rather as people were reacting to it, we wanted to step out and focus a light on it and put it in its place, but also have the necessary precautions, but also the dismissal of the kind of spirit that this wants to create. As a collective, we dismiss this spirit of fear and hatred.
Have you actually seen a flyer?
Are they sourced out of Europe? Is that what you're suggesting?
They started in the UK, and there's been a huge reaction in the UK. We're not the first group to discuss these flyers publicly. They've made it into late night, shows, news shows, etc. Really, when you look at it, it just seems completely ridiculous. It's almost like a game with points that you earn as you commit various acts of hate and violence, even against Muslims at large. So the first instinct of a reasonable person is to dismiss this as something ridiculous and stupid. But again, in this current environment in which ridiculous and stupid things happen on a daily basis, including the senseless shootings at our schools, it is not completely out of line for our community members to be concerned that someone could take this seriously. And the mere fact of this thing taking hold in the digital online world as it has, the mere fact of that alone is sufficient to cause for us a concern about the kind of environment in which we're living and the kind of acceptance for this sort of thing, even if it is through just sharing on social media or commenting positively on it. So again, our voice here today is to express or to ask for exercising caution and to exercise calm, but also to call on the opinion makers in our country, in which we live, unfortunately, as a targeted group, as a minority that feels like other minorities in this time and place, threatened by forces of hate, to step it up and to speak loudly against this sort of thing and not to wish it away, because we have to take a stance. This will not go away on its own.
So you've alerted the FBI. What will this organization be doing tomorrow when this alleged day happens in the UK and elsewhere? Will you be kind of monitoring social media, taking calls from community members? What will the organization be doing?
We'll be doing the same thing we do every day, which is to take calls, to deal with things as they happen, to express to our community the need to exercise caution, but to not ever whittle down our Muslimness, to be apologetic or to hide our freedoms of expression in ways that we see fit of what it means to be a Muslim, whether it's the hijab or someone's beard or praying in a corner in an airport or something. People ought to continue to live their lives and not alter them in any way, and we will be on standby, as we always are, to deal with things should they happen. But obviously, everybody exercises caution in the best way that they can today and every day. So this really doesn't change anything for us, other than to put that spotlight on why this is happening and why it's taking hold in social media the way that it is, and to have that public conversation about it. Let me just point out one more thing. There has been, on a positive note, a public campaign as well called Love a Muslim Day. And in a similar fashion, there are points awarded to various good things, nice things, compassionate things that you can do with your Muslim neighbors. So I just wanted to give a nod to that kind of response that is also seemingly anonymous and seemingly taking hold online, to send out the message that this is not a singular world of hate and fear, but also there is definitely the counter force, and our hopes and wishes and prayers is a stronger force to push the opposite of hate and fear, which is love and understanding and living and getting along together. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming. Really appreciate your care.